Welcome back, welcome back. For many, Garry Kasparov was the greatest chess player of all time, dominating the game with a 22-year reign as world champion. He took on some formidable opponents, not least IBM's chess-playing computer, Deep Blue. But it's in retirement that he's found his most formidable foe so far, Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. Today, he's the most prominent name in the opposition in Russia. The Other Russia, the coalition is called. And I caught up with him here in London, and I asked him if he still plays chess, having retired in 2005, whether he still plays chess for fun.
Yeah, I know how to move the pieces. I play some chess exhibitions as a part of my lectures. If the audience also wants to see the chess side of Garry Kasparov, I'm involved in writing chess books. Could play a few games on the internet, but I'm retired.
You're retired, and it's not much fun now to play, or it is?
No, it's the passion for chess will be with me to the rest of my life. It's a great game. I'm always intrigued to follow chess combinations. I follow chess events. Occasionally I write articles about the current state of affairs in the world of chess. But I want to emphasize, I'm retired.
I remember interviewing Bobby Fischer years ago, and Mr. Edmondson, who was the head of the American Chess Federation at that time, was saying in this interview, the great thing about Bobby is that it's his will to win, it's his will to win. And Bobby Fischer said, I don't agree with that. I've met a lot of people with tremendous will to win, but they were no good. What is the talent that most of all you have to make yourself the record-breaking chess player of all time?
No, I think Fischer was half correct in his statement. Yes, there are many people. There were many people, there will be many people with tremendous will to win who are failing. But Bobby Fischer had a tremendous will to win. Also, I never met him, I never played with him, but judging from his games, for me it was not only winning or dominating, but also about making the difference. So finding new ideas, expanding the horizons of the game of chess.
One of the other things you do, presumably in chess, is you, as in cricket or boxing or whatever, but you psych an opponent whenever you can.
Yes, it's a part of your preparation, because no matter what you do, so again, business, politics, military, you want to push your opponent into your territory, so to play your game. Yeah, you want to play maybe more defensive if you are a cautious player and to sort of downsize the opponent's attack, or you want to play very aggressive chess if you are more dynamic. So if you have in medieval battlefield cavalry, you want to fight in the valley. If you are fighting against cavalry, you're looking for the hills. So it's very important that you analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, and also the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, and then you design the game plan, the strategy, to make sure that the game is played under your terms.
Is that true of politics too? Because that is your passion now. I mean, and that's an adversary procedure. And politics was one of the reasons you gave up chess when you did, yeah?
I will be very cautious in calling what we're doing in Russia now politics, because people could get confused. Politics is about campaigning, fundraising, debating the opponents. In Russia, we're not trying to win elections, we're trying to have elections. It's more like, the fight of the united opposition against Pinochet in Chile at the end of the 80s. You bring different ideological and political groups together to defeat the authoritarian regime and to restore democracy, to restore the normal democratic process. That's what we're trying to accomplish in Russia now. So it's a different ballgame. So, and since you understand that there's only one rule in Russia now, no rules, so you have to work out your strategy based on tactics of survival, because we have to survive. Any day we are around, we can reach out more people, we can expand a little bit the territory we control, we could explain our ideas to the larger crowd, and we could, weaken the regime.
But why, when you say weaken the regime, why is Vladimir Putin so popular?
I don't know. I don't know whether he's popular at all, because if you follow the same logic, then Stalin was popular, Hitler was popular, Saddam Hussein was popular, Kim Jong-il now is popular in North Korea, and you can continue the list of these names, such names. You cannot rely on opinion polls in a non-democratic environment. Yes, Putin got some kind of support, mainly based on unwillingness of Russians to be part of this political process. Unfortunately, the actions of so-called reformers, so-called liberal reformers in early 90s created an impression in the minds of tens of millions of my compatriots that democracy and market economy related to chaos and poverty. And when Putin, as they thought, restored law, order, and guaranteed small but steady income, people got quiet. So they didn't recognize that it was, related to the high oil prices. And in fact, Russian economy began its way to recovery in 1999, a year before Putin was picked up by Yeltsin as his successor. And now more and more people recognize the limitations of Putin's model, because even with the oil prices much higher than in 1998, the regime is literally facing the economic meltdown. The infrastructure is falling apart. There's at least 85% of Russian population that has no access to these benefits from the high energy prices. The social services are falling apart. The healthcare system, the basic conditions of Russian economy, and now it's all exposed, are in terrible shape. And this regime, because of corruption and inefficiency, is not ready to meet these challenges.
He would describe it, I'm sure, Prime Minister Putin, as a democracy. To what extent is Russia, do you think, a democracy?
No, Russia is everything but democracy. Russia today belongs to the league of Belarus, Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Now, Venezuela probably, I don't think I should be unfair to Chavez, because in Chavez, Venezuela, opposition can win at least few elections. In Putin's Russia, it's impossible. This is the country where everything is under control, mass media, election process. The opposition can't legally function. The only way to register a political group is to get official approval in Kremlin. But this system will be short-lived.
Short-lived.
Very short-lived, because it doesn't respond to the crisis. And a lot of Russians now, they open their eyes and they just recognize that it was all an illusion.
One other thing that occurs to me, Gary, is do you ever, when you read about Litvinenko or other people, do you ever fear that you, as a vigorous opponent of the regime, might suffer in the same way that he did? Have there been attempts on your life?
No, not attempts on my life, but life in Russia is very dangerous for those who are opposing Putin's regime. I do what I can to minimize the risk, while understanding that if you live in Russia and criticize Putin openly, you are always in danger. So I have bodyguards, my family is protected, but that's only against the direct assault. You have hundreds and thousands of activists of our movement in Russia, and as we speak, they are under tremendous pressure. They are regularly interrogated. They're losing their jobs. Many of them are arrested. We have political prisoners, dozens and dozens of people now in Russian prisons for their political activities. They don't have even minimal protection of the famous name. So if I want to be the moral leader, so I have to share some of that risk, not that it makes me feel happy or it makes my family sleep well.
And so, with the problem being that Putin appears to be popular, that the support for the opposition to Putin appears not to be very popular, how do you change that?
Look,
I know you could say you've got to change the opinion polls.
Look, in 1989, how many people, let's say in September, predicted the collapse of the Berlin Wall? The problem of evaluating the situation behind Iron Curtain, 20, 30 years ago, or in the non-democratic environment, still exists. I believe that now our goal now is to make sure that when this transition begins, and I've no doubt it will happen within the next 2 years, we avoid violence, because Russia has exceeded all limits for violence. And the problem with Putin is now that he leaves for Russian people no other choice but to dismantle this regime by the street protest rather than through the normal democratic process. I have no problem of debating Putin and his cronies. The problem is that we have no chance. I kept repeating, and I could say it again, 2 weeks of normal political debate on Russian television, and you will see that the country changed, because there are a lot of questions people are asking and they have no answers.
That's a fascinating picture. Thank you very much indeed, Gary. It's been a real joy having this conversation.
Thanks for
We appreciate it
having me.
very much. Coming up next, the highly controversial subject, opium.